I'm Debbie Dingell. I'm from the great state of Michigan. And I got elected in 2015, and I've been working this issue since the day I walked in the door. I love being with Grandmas Unite. And I love telling the world, care cannot wait. Care cannot wait. I know Senator Casey just reviewed a lot of this with you, so let me, I am happy we got this over the line in the House, and it took a lot of work, but I'm going to first tell you that the man that lives at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue right now has always been my partner on this. He and I, and Bob Casey, I mean, I can't tell you what an honor it is to work with Bob Casey. Well, I started with Joe Biden. I'll tell you my story. I'm just going to talk from my heart today. You guys don't need another prepared speech with. I was married to the greatest man in the world for almost 40 years. He was smart. And by the way, he was the author of Medicare. He got Medicare through in 1965. His father was the author of Social Security and introduced the first universal health care bill in 1940. And it took to 1965 to get Medicare. And we've been improving it ever since in terms of getting the Children's Health Insurance Program. We've got the Affordable Care Act. We've been not fast enough trying to address prescription drug prices, and hopefully we're going to do that and Build Back Better too. But the day after he retired, he went in the hospital, and the doctor said to me, he may have finished his life's work last night. He may die today. Now, he didn't die for several years. I miss him every day, and I'm having a hard day because Bob Dole was a good friend of his. And we're losing too many people that cared about our country and cared about the country first, and a bunch of bullshit politics after that. That flag stands for something. It stands for United. So I'm having a hard day. But the first person, when he heard that John was in intensive care, Joe Biden and Jill were at that hospital in a few hours. And he too has had a child who ultimately didn't make it, who needed to have care too. And you don't understand how broken the system is until you're in it. You don't. You just don't. So, you know, I'm supposed to know how to work a system. I'm supposed to know what to do when you suddenly become aware of 90-day rules. You can't, there were days that have you ever tried to get Medicare and your primary insurance giver and all you do is push numbers and everybody sends you which way and you just take your head and you knock it against the wall and you just want to cry? So then I finally gave up and I called my congresswoman. She wasn't able to help all that, me. But then John did get better. And, initially he just needed some care, and in the end, we needed, but not for long, but for the last few months, I needed to find full-time care. You all know how hard it is to find care. How do you find a caregiver? And how do you make sure, the woman that I ended up, the one woman is a member of my family. Christine still is a member of my family to this day. You can't leave somebody you love like I did when I had to come vote here at home unless you've got somebody you really trust. And then, I had for the beginning, he could be by himself. I just didn't want him alone at night. And then it got harder. And I was lucky enough. I had another job. I had a pension. He had a pension. It wasn't cheap, but I could afford it. I could afford to have someone, and I believe in paying a decent wage. And that's what's the most important part about all of this, too. You are taking care of the most important person in my world and in somebody else's world. And we need to pay the person for what it's worth to take care of the person that you love. And I had a lot of challenging times in there. Finding somebody you could trust. I had one or two bad moments where someone stole drugs. You know what it's like. And so this has been, and Joe Biden promised me back then, didn't promise me, he was like me. He was a father trying to help his son and his family and kids. You know what? We're caregivers. We are people that had people that we needed help giving care to, give to. So we know when people like us that are luckier than 99 and 9/10 of the people in this country are in a broken system you cannot navigate, it needs to be fixed. So that's what Bob Casey and I are trying to do. We got it through the House. You know, there are almost 1 million people right now that are on the waiting list for home-based community care. You know, you've worked your whole life. When you've worked and you've earned it, you have the right to live in the home that's your home. That's in a community where you know people, this is where you want to spend those days of your life you've worked hard to have. And that's what we're trying to do in home and community-based care, that people should be able to stay in their own home, get the care that they need, and pay the caregivers the worth that they have. So you are the human faces, like me. We need you. Grandmas and grandpas, unite. We need you. We got to get it over the finish line in the United States Senate. And trying to get the United States Senate to do anything can be challenging. But we're going to do it. And you're all being here on this Thursday in December gives me hope. Because you got to go talk to those that represent you. Tell them why it matters. And I can't wait that when I can stand with Senator Bob Casey and President Joe Biden and celebrate care can't wait. We delivered. Thank you. And have a really good holiday, too. All I want for Christmas is this bill.